Привет. Федя, right?
Yeah,
Да?
that's right. Fedor, Fedor,
Федор,
Федя.
привет. Ты что, еще в
Привет.
Китае?
Да, представляешь, в
Ну,
Китае.
и как в Китае?
Ну как? Ну так, как? Без изменений в Китае. Все нормально. Вот.
Да?
На карантине, да,
На
сижу.
карантине, да? То есть вы из дома не выходите, как и мы. Мы
Да,
уже
да.
начинаем выходить. Мы уже начинаем потихонечку выползать. Но я, например, бы еще посидела дома месяцев 6. Я не против.
Слушай, ну, понимаешь, что в чем самая особенность? Я понимаю вашу причину, почему вы не выходите, да, там и
Да,
кейсы и так далее. Вот люди бушуют. Опасно выходить. Можно
опасно выходить.
и пулю словить можно все что угодно.
Точно, точно.
Вот, а здесь, в Китае, уже все нормально, понимаешь? То есть люди живут, вот, люди путешествуют, уже и кейсов вроде мало, вот, а они все, понимаете, держат нас вот в клетке. Ну, вот.
Ну а почему ты думаешь, так происходит? Can you
Почему?
okay? Is it not too dark?
No, it looks fine to me.
Okay, I see you now, Tarik.
Tarik. T.
Also, I see you now, T.
I think we should switch to English.
Yeah,
Why?
I think
I was enjoying the Russian. What's-
even though Tarik knows a lot of Russian, I taught him all the bad words while we were walking around Brooklyn.
everybody
me-
wants to say they taught me all the bad words.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I was not a good teacher for Tarik, you know, but yeah,
I
that's
was
fine.
good.
Yeah.
I was a good teacher. I was teaching him. What did I teach you? You were asking me a lot of questions, and
Yeah,
I was
all
like,
sorts of questions, you know.
I was just trying to teach him how to talk to girls, you know, how to talk to Russian girls.
Yeah, interesting. So how should I talk to them?
How you should talk to them?
Yeah.
You know, I really don't know how young modern girls now react to anything. It's hard for me to tell what's going on because it's entirely different generation than mine, you know.
Yeah.
And as you know, like there's groups of people now always have been that way. Like when I was growing up, when I was really young, the guys that impressed me were the guys that knew stuff, you know, that guys that read books and guys that knew about music. You know, it was that way for me. But maybe if I was a scientist, I would be impressed with a man who was into science. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's hard to tell how to impress somebody.
It is interesting topic because I think that not only Russian girls, but I think just girls in general are attracted by some of specific characteristics, right? Like masculine body,
Right.
or
Well,
I
not
don't know,
me.
yeah, not you, but yeah, we will jump into this because creative girls like have something different, and I'm gonna try to scrutinize it a little bit because
Right.
I've recently met that girl named. She's from Lebanon, from Beirut, and she's an architect, and she's 27. I don't know if you can say this. You gotta cut the name. Yeah, her name is Masha. Masha from Lebanon, 27. And I feel that she has been trying to find the perfect match for her, you know? She's been like rolling and just trying to like, I'm gonna try that and that and that. So at the end, yeah.
I think we are all very heavily brainwashed by idea of ideal match because people grow up on Hollywood movies, first of all.
Yeah.
Also, if we go way back all the way to fairy tales, how does every fairy tale go? It's installed into a mind of a young child that there's a perfect match, and that perfect match is going to give you everything that you want. Not only he, she are beautiful, but he usually will come on a white horse with lots of money. So the little Cinderella will turn into princess and stuff like that. So, and as you go through life and you have a relationship or relationships, you understand each thing. There is no perfect match. Any
Mhm.
match has pluses and minuses, right? You'll hit it off in something with one person, but there will be something lacking. With one person, there will be a little more chemistry. With another one, a little bit less. So it is comes to patience and accepting the way the person is. So
Yeah.
those people that look for perfect match, they're gonna fail
Hmm.
every time because there's no such thing. You will be
Angela,
perfect for three
I just
months.
want to ask you a question. Are you single?
Wow. No, I'm not.
Ah, you're not. All right. All
No.
right.
But
So,
but I don't think my match is perfect. It's never been perfect, and I've always been kind of like,
so you would kind of dodge it and use as an excuse, right? Like, he is
yeah,
not perfect, and by this definition, I'm not gonna stick by him.
no,
So
no,
that
no.
I'm not trying to offend. I'm just trying to really open this picture, like from this, like labeled creative girls. And here's just my concept. This how I see this, at least. The reason why you can't stand, like stick by somebody, try to really dedicate, is that you have something bigger than all any other things, something more important, like music, for example, which I also love so much. And then Masha from Lebanon, example, she loves architecture,
Right,
and that's what drives her crazy.
right.
But for those creative girls, of course, you just need to have that partner, around, to just share this whole bunch of
Passion,
emotions,
right.
yeah, and passion. And so the problem, and I don't want to just say a lot of things right now, but yeah, you've been just trying to find, not just you, but I guess all creative girls, they're trying to really,
Good name for a
you
band,
know
All Creative Girls. I'm yeah.
yeah. So I just
Listen, so
basically, yeah.
sorry to interrupt. Go ahead. So, no. What I was saying is, there is no such a thing as a perfect
Yeah, yeah,
relationship.
yeah. I understand. Perfect, not perfect. Yeah, I don't believe in that stuff either. But the problem is, I'm more curious. Why can't some girls, some ladies, creative especially, who's doing some like art, cannot stick by a man for a long time, or like can, but then it would like. I'm gonna give you an example in a metaphor. So it's like a pool, like a swimming pool, and the water, like the temperature of it, the lines and stuff, and you can swim, the length of that pool. But as soon as a person that you're with right now, or maybe somebody in that pool, proposes something more serious, like, yo, we gotta go and swim in the ocean right now. And you go like, no, 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 no. I'm comfortable in my pool. I'm not leaving. For me, as a person that has never been in any kind of relationship before,
Which is good.
I
It's
yeah,
just
I'm
like
afraid of water. I test the water, and I like, no, 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 it's just too cold for me. That's it. But you feel comfortable in that water, and that's from like just my idea. And when you swim, but you won't dare to go to the ocean and swim there, and that's the reason why.
women complain about men the same way nowadays. Like, why can't guys commit nowadays? They feel the same way. They feel like there's too much choice. There's
Hmm.
all this. There's Instagram, there's Facebook, there's all this dating apps, and I think this has been the easiest time for humanity in, you know in millions of years, the easiest time for people to hook up, to go from one partner to another, to have multiple partners. And I think it's promoted by so many things nowadays, and people do that and they don't want to commit. So I definitely I don't necessarily like that. I can't imagine myself on dating apps, for instance. That would be very hard for me, sitting there and kind of
Yeah,
scroll.
it's
Yeah, I like
hard
this
for me
guy, I
too.
like that guy.
I don't like it. It feels like it's like a
Shopping.
product. Yeah, like a product
Exactly.
you're buying. It's very weird.
Shopping for
But
shoes at the mall.
no, I tend to disagree on this point because, like, regarding my circumstances, I've been studying the top three university in China, and the surrounding is not pleasant for hookups, right? And I've tried and like a casual talk, and that's where I go, Yeah, like Tinder, no problem. Yeah, we gotta swipe,
No, a lot of
we
people
gotta
like
see,
it. Yeah, yeah.
and like imagining yourself, like what else should I do? It's been promoted, yeah, but about the easiest time, well, no, because like we have TikTok and all other is like social medias, right? And when a person just like scrolling it down, like a girl, she's been seeing like all of this brolic masculine guys, or just rich or just some crazy stuff, from circus, doing some tricks. You would assume that she would point this, like peak point, as a standard for her. And that's where let's say I, not being as masculine, as being as creative, get rejected because I just don't fit that standard.
Right.
So when we're talking about the easiest time to hook up, no, absolutely not. I would rather go in, like, I don't know, like back in the 60s where we didn't have this
Well,
internet.
I guess what I meant, it's nice that you corrected me actually, because I guess what I meant is humanity never had platforms like that before. And in
Yeah,
order
that's
to
right.
meet somebody, you had to go to a library or to a bar or to, like, in order to ask a woman out, you had to court her, you had to take her to dinners, you had to buy her flowers, chocolates, blah blah blah, and then maybe she'll do something with you. Nowadays it's easy to call somebody. That's what I meant, like these platforms.
Yeah, I guess like both sides understand what they want, right? And this understanding creates a motive. You would not like fool around with that. You know what you want. But it's also like a small game has been played on this app. So I've been like, I don't use them right now, but I used to, because in quarantine I cannot even invite a person from the street.
Yeah, you cannot do it. But you know what? I've never met anyone on the internet. I never met anyone on the internet. Everybody I know who is close to me or a good acquaintance, I met in real life. So I really don't know how.
Yeah. This is the remnants of your generation, I guess. Good part of it.
And it's because
I know a lot of people my age that do whatever they're called, Tinder, Twitter, Tinder all the time. In fact, one girl got married meeting a guy on Tinder recently. So.
And I've been in that kind of waiting too,
What do you think?
It's something. It goes to show though how we met each other was a very old-fashioned way, right?
Totally. I walked up to you and I was like, "What are you doing in the Russian church?" But when you guys clicking on one, sometimes Tarik shows up and sometimes you show up. Am I supposed to click on something when I talk?
Oh no. That's just how it is. It just shows
okay, good.
Talking.
So I'm doing it right. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So this is so sci-fi. Okay, so when I was growing up, I didn't really read a lot of sci-fi, but I remember the whole idea of talking and seeing each other in different parts of the world. That was sci-fi world. That was only in the books. And here we are talking from different parts of the world, and I still think it's insane.
Yeah.
I'm still just absolutely in belief that this is happening.
Yeah,
Awesome.
absolutely.
And
Me
so
too. Me too.
it's a movie. Have you ever seen that Kubrick's movie 2001 Space Odyssey? He was that movie when it came out. I think it came out in 81, maybe 79. I don't even know. But when it came out, it was this big thing. A computer was talking to a human being, and it was like a big deal. People thought this will never happen, but here we are. It's all happening.
Yeah.
And now we have robots that can talk like human beings already.
Um, Soon we'll be
Yeah.
like, you know what? I really like that girl, and you won't be able to tell if it's a real girl or not real. She'll come to dinner and she'll talk like a regular human being.
Yeah. At least that's how I feel like using this like online dating apps, you know, or just any apps that requires this like, you know, communication. I'm not really sure like all the time whether I'm talking to a real person or a robot.
Yeah, that's I get that feeling too.
Or if it's a woman who is used to be a man, or vice versa, you never know anymore.
Yeah.
Never know. I had this experience recently where I went to, this is before Corona thing started. I went to this hairdresser salon. I wanted to cut my hair, and I see this woman looking at me. And I had this really strange sensation. I was looking at her. I'm like, why am I attracted to this girl? I'm not really attracted to girls at all. I'm attracted to this woman. And she's looking at me and I'm looking at her. And she starts speaking and she has really deep voice. And I keep saying to her, wow, you have such a good voice. I've always wanted a voice like that. I always wanted to be a singer with really low voice. And she's not saying anything. I keep coming on the voice. Suddenly she says, well, okay, well, I used to be a guy and I'm transitioning into a girl. And this woman looked exactly like a girl. So I remember leaving the place and feeling kind of like, wow, that was so strange, because my reaction, my attraction was towards a man. Because on purely hormonal level, I reacted to hormones of a man, but it was a girl. So I just kind of left and I kind of thought, wow, in the future, you won't be able to tell. You'll be just in love with the person and they will be perfect woman, a perfect man, and you won't even know. But on very fundamental hormonal level, there's something odd, because you can't really trick the nature.
Yeah, that's right.
You can't.
No, that's not right. From my understanding, that's it. Again, this is the idea of your generation, that you can't, and by the fact that I'm used by this ability to express and talk right now. It's our and Tarik's generation too. For my little brothers, it would be normal to do conversation like that and not in the real life. So let's imagine in 50 years, I don't know, either 20 years, kids would just got born, right? Let's say in 20, 30 years, they would have no, prejudgments. They would be feeling perfect about those, how would I say it? Unset points of nature, in terms of who is that? Is that a woman, man?
They
No.
won't even ask those questions. It will be normal.
There will be no dissonance in their mind of oh damn, I actually was attracted to a man, pure man's hormone. No, that would not be a case. That's just my opinion.
I totally believe what you're saying, and I'm just kind of we are product of our time and our generation and our past and the countries we were born in and all that kind of stuff. So for me, it is still kind of, I wouldn't say shocking, but not normal. That's not normal. So,
Yeah.
so whenever a woman is talking at me and I sense that's not a woman, my body doesn't react to that normally. I have to process and tell myself,
Yeah.
oh, it's normal, but it
Yeah.
isn't actually, you know. So
Yeah. Well, I haven't really encountered any, this transformers. That's how Vladimir put it.
yeah,
Describe them. But yeah, sorry for like, it's like in our audience, gonna be somebody who is that type. Sorry, no offense.
but that doesn't
But
happen a lot in China, or no?
no. That's the problem. I've never met anybody like that in China. Or only on dating apps, to be honest. I know there is a gay bar in this city. I probably gotta check that out.
You gotta watch that video I sent you about the Republican from Atlanta. He made a
Yeah.
lot of good points against,
Yeah, all right. Yeah, I'll watch it. Breakfast Club.
just like
All right.
how we're teaching the children. Basically, she was saying it's not right to tell them lies, which is
It's
it's,
not right to
Yeah.
tell them lies.
yeah, like about
What did she mean
sex.
by lies?
She was saying that you can't tell a kid that they're not a boy if they were born a boy, because that's just lying to them. She says that if you become an adult and you decide that that's what you want to do, she said that's fine, but like we shouldn't be teaching kids about transsexuality, because that's like
I totally agree with that because kids, first of all, when you're little, that shouldn't be your concern.
yeah,
Sex, sexuality, hormones. You should have a childhood, proper childhood, and you should run around and enjoy yourself and play in the freaking dirt or whatever. Now kids playing computer games. So then, when you're a teenager, like for example, a few years back, I had a friend who had a teenage son, and that teenage son, when he was 12, he came home and he said, I am bisexual. And the family was shocked. The family was not into that kind of thing, but they kind of went, well, you know what? I guess there's nothing we can do. He's a bisexual. Another year went by. He said, I'm gay. Another year went by. He said, I'm actually straight and I'm in love with this girl. Now he's been dating girls like crazy. What I'm saying is, there could be a period of complete confusion in teenagers' life. And if the surrounding will say, well, you know what? You kind of look weird. You might be this or that or this. A teenager might believe that and change hormonally, go through surgeries, and then a
Yeah.
couple years later absolutely regret the process. We don't know. And so to influence a child that direction is not right. And when somebody reaches their 20s or late teens and they're really sure they want to go through all that, then yes, there's no problem in that. But before that, I don't think it's right. But again, if I express opinion like that in America, it's like
you saw how she looked both ways, Fedor?
I'm instantly put in the box some sort, which I don't really.
Yeah, freedom of speech.
Freedom of speech.
Yeah,
I think
don't.
the freedom of speech ends when people start policing each other, when the thought is killed, when the dialogue is killed, when like brainstorming is killed. It's over. There is no freedom of speech anymore. It's very kind of scary. It scares
Yeah.
me more than anything in America right now. It's like, okay, I guess like in the past few years, I'd say in the past 8 years, I feel like there's a tape on my mouth, you know, and I'm
Mm.
that's like that, and because I can't really, you know how Russians are.
Yeah, of course.
We like to think. We like to question. I mean, I was watching Brothers Karamazov's last night on YouTube, and just listening to Dostoevsky's characters, you sit there and you're like, oh my God, that's absolute insanity. There's so much color and aspect to one character. It's not one dimensional. You know what I mean? And I think in modern society in America, you expected to be this one-dimensional human being that just kind of goes, okay, yeah, sure, yeah, I'm like everybody else. Oh my God, I'm really sorry I'm not like you. I'm so sorry I'm not like you. I should be like you, and I belong to this group, and I think
Yeah,
like you.
yeah,
And
that smells like China to me.
Yeah,
totally, right?
yeah, that's
Exactly.
right.
Thank you for saying
Yeah.
that.
This
Smells
my
like China.
at least my dream of America got diminished pretty rapidly, pretty abrupt. You know, it's just
Bro,
like feels.
she's mainly talking about California, right?
No, I'm talking about, well, I guess what? New York, California. Yeah. New
Yeah.
York,
Well, New York, we still have a couple cool kids,
I mean, Tarik, not every New Yorker is like you. I'm sorry to say
Yeah,
that.
of
You
course.
are,
We know this is true.
you're an exception. You are an exception.
Yeah.
And you are a
Yes.
great exception.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
all know
but,
about exceptionality of Tarik. All right. Yeah,
Yeah,
got it.
he's
but
an
look,
exception. He's,
we have other New Yorkers who also I think are exceptional. So all I'm gonna say is I definitely agree with you. The number of people who we definitely don't want representing New York has increased by a lot.
yeah,
but
yeah.
but there's still
Plus,
some of
what
it.
is New York now? It's all newcomers. Like everybody you meet in New York.
Yeah.
I feel like the best people I met in New York. Maybe I shouldn't say that, but people that I love, they're all actual New Yorkers. They grew up in New York, and all the
Yeah.
newcomers can go kind of psychotic after being in New York for a few years because it's not an easy city to survive.
Yeah, they just can't handle it. I've been
Can
teaching
we handle
Fedor
it?
the ways of New York, so he's already preparing himself. But
Are you gonna come and visit us?
Yes, I hope one day, And but Donald Trump has been going crazy. No visa. He doesn't issue visa.
Really?
Yeah, not even for like tourists, but for high tech people, and who's working in that industry. It's just like crazy. It would be like impossible to get to the States.
Wow.
Yeah, and this Russian American tensions. Yeah, it's never gonna end.
Sanctions every 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Maybe you guys can answer this because I'm not really the kind of person who maybe understands things the way other people understand it, but I'm just curious about it. I just don't get it. How is it one country can impose sanctions on another? Like, what rights does one country have to impose sanctions on another? It's
Right.
crazy to me.
Well,
Yeah.
I can actually explain it because
Yeah,
I've
explain. Okay.
taken some courses and I kind of know how the UN works. So basically, there's the UN Security Council, and this is where all the problems arise, right? Because we have just allowed historically powerful countries to be the last vetoes of any international movements, right? In terms of peacekeeping and protecting justice and things like that. So those countries are China, France, the UK, USA, Russia. That's
Yeah.
Except
And-
Russia never has a voice in any of that.
Well, no, Russia has a voice. Russia's defending its own voice, and
Right.
constantly anything against Russia is vetoed. So, it kind of works, but it's that exact way that they're organized is the real problem. Like, they'll never be able to ally because everybody will always just veto in their own interest.
Right. Right.
So what happens is the United States, who's like closer to the UK and France, always has this kind of power dynamic, which forces Russia to be in this like, all right, well, screw you guys. It's everybody against Russia then. So it's understandable, why Russia is seen as aggressive from the West because they're constantly putting pressure on them. And then Russia's just like, no. We're not going to take your BS, We're gonna.
Well, it's what I was saying earlier is when you speak your mind and people categorize you right away, and it's funny because you start looking like you're an odd one, right? Because and the same with countries. I totally see, and to me, it feels like Russia is constantly defending itself, constantly defending. I mean, I watch press conferences was afraid to say his name because You instantly like categorized a certain way. But I watched press conferences with Putin, and this guy is constantly defending himself. He is guilty for all Russian history. He's guilty for the Russian Revolution that happened 100 years ago. He's guilty for the war. He's guilty for every victim that ever was the victim of in any kind of dealings with Soviet Union. It's insane what is being put on one person. It's crazy. If I was president of Russia right now, I would not be able to endure something like that. It would be very hard for me. I would collapse within a week and kind of go, please, just like me, the West. Please love me.
Yeah, but I mean, if
I'm
you
gonna do anything you want.
yeah, if you think about it too, Putin has done measurably well, especially from the transition period that Russia was going through. They were doing pretty well. I mean, the Crimea move was bold, but there's some historical aspects to that. But
Yeah, West style, man. That's like I just wanna like cut you off right there. Absolutely, what you just said, historical, yeah. That's how British divided India and Pakistan, because there was some historical shit right there. That's how Hong Kong and China, yeah, historical shit right there. And now you guys have exactly the same, and the statues been fallen down, yeah, representing. So what I want to say is that activization of history in politics. So it's a broad topic. We've discussed it with my friend Professor, and he has a strong opinion about it. But he's a British citizen.
Professor Dima.
Yeah, Professor Dima, Russian guy.
Not demon, Dima.
Yeah. So, and like Boris Johnson just had a tweet recently that says don't use history, like Churchill is in the past, don't touch him, and as we all saw that he was a racist, in the statues being said, and what I want to say is that what's primarily the UK and I guess all the West Bloc been doing to other countries, and putting this dispute regarding this, some it's history reason or something. Now it's happening in the West. Totally. Because people are not in the. So speaking from the UK side, that apologies were being put into museums. They've been really pretty frankly expressing, we're so sorry for slavery, for trade, opium war, etc. But actually in the on the streets, there was no such thing, But now this event, following the brutal death of George Floyd, and now we all got this protest arise, And what I personally think that all of these people, speaking from the UK side, and I guess America is the same, they gotta go to libraries, they're gonna find some books, they're gonna read and understand shit, and then gonna, flow in the street. So right now, what we're facing is just unprecedented, how I can even describe that. Just, yeah, I just feel satisfied, to be honest, because the West been doing this shit and now they have it. And I mean,
the whole world, I think a lot of people feel that way.
And from Russian side, there's only two approaches. We can either be all right, make a coalition and say, yeah, look at the West right now, put them in the you motherfuckers been oppressing us, now it's our turn. Or try to come up with some agreements, resolutions, don't use history as a weapon in politics. That's it. There's got to be a consensus. That's just my proposal. But yeah,
I think that history and politics always will be used, and I feel right now For instance, I live in the United States. I hear what people are saying, and the propaganda in America is huge. It's very strong, and I think that American people, even the ones that I've known for many years, I used to say, "Oh, I don't believe this shit on TV. American news is a bunch of baloney." They all swallow every word right now and believe everything, and so whenever anything negative comes out about Russia, people jump into it and they believe it. And they tell me things that kind of scare me a little bit. They tell me, well, you know what? We're not against Russian people. We are just against that demon, that evil Putin. And that makes me think about Germany when German people before the Hitler's army attacked the Soviet Union, German people really believed that they are marching towards the Soviet Union to free Soviet people from communism and from horrible Stalin. They really believed that. But in the process, while they were freeing Soviet people from communists, they just happened to kill 27 million of them. Not a big deal, right? So, and I always tell people, like, you know what, history, knowing history, looking back at history is important, because then you can see mistakes you're making by trusting whatever propaganda you're trusting. And to me, this new war on Russia is not war on Putin. I don't believe that for 1 second. I believe it's precisely war on Russia and the Russian people. And that is why a lot of times I take it personally as well, because it's hard for me not to, because I grew up in Russia, Doesn't make any sense what I was just saying.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So I feel sometimes saddened by this, because I live here and I have a lot of friends here, and I've been playing music here for many years, and this new Cold War, revived Cold War, is not cool. It's not cool, man.
That's why we're here to break it down, to tear down.
I promise to myself I'm not going to talk about that.
But it's hard to resist, I understand. Good conversation is hard to restrict, in an open discussion.
Right.
But that's what we stand for here. We're here to not let, they'll probably come for us. The cancel squad will want to come for us at some point. It's going to happen, but we're going to hold on strong and let people say what they want to say and defend their points.
Yeah.
So interesting.
Actually, you're seeing me like here, like, hey guys, I'm going. Knock on wood. I hope. Because I think that peace on this planet, unfortunately, isn't possible. I don't think humanity will arrive to something like that.
Yeah, well, I don't think so.
We can blame.
I think we'll get there.
You think we'll get there?
Yeah.
I hope so. I really do.
I feel like if you look at it this way, right? A lot more people in the world are starting to connect with each other, and that's another thing that we're doing here. We're trying to connect people, and as those efforts grow, people are becoming more united from different places. So I think that I'm just more optimistic, maybe, I don't know. But it's also like, I wouldn't do this if I didn't think that the future was going to be good. I want to just like contribute to that in some way.
Yeah.
I honestly have no idea what the future is going to look like. It's kind of, it feels like the world has gone insane to me. However, it probably always felt that way. You know what I mean? I mean, imagine, I always, you know how Russians are attached to the Second World War. I always imagine living during that time and suddenly turning the radio on and somebody saying, hey, there's this guy marching towards your town right now with huge army and they're about to kill you and burn you. And I always think, wow, how crazy would that feel? That would feel like, I don't know. I hope to never find out how that would feel. But whenever I
Yeah.
think our world is going crazy, I just kind of think, you know what? It's always been crazy. It's always been on the verge of something. It's always been somebody really scary rising to power and deciding to start a world war. And it's always kind of, I don't think anything is different now except technology has changed so much and the warfares are going to be different, you know.
Yeah.
But
Interesting.
maybe the warfares now are less noticeable to the public. The public don't really know what's going on. You know, like there's an information warfare going on. Most people are not even aware that it's going on. So
Yeah, that's true.
maybe the new wars will be like that in information, biological, who knows? And maybe it won't even affect most people. So I have no idea. If you ask me right now, what do you think will happen tomorrow? I'll say, I don't know, you know? And maybe 10 years ago, I would say, you know, tomorrow this will be happening. But now I can't even say that. I don't know.
Interesting.
Because
So, all right, the warfare topic is kind of like we're not professionals here, so I just like speculations. But what I want to talk about is,
not
China
professionals,
and
not
yeah, and
professional
more.
amateurs.
But you're a professional at music, so I
Yeah.
would say that would be more interesting to talk about because I also kind of like it. I'm not a producer. I don't make music, but I can appreciate it. So I'm a really good appreciator, you know.
Right. I would rather talk about music anyway. So, like, it's been 2 hours I did this week talking to a friend of mine on his podcast, which was all music related, and that was really fun. So,
Yeah. So yes, yeah, I know, but I just want to touch it a little bit. You know, like, how did you end up in America, and why music? That's it.
Okay, so how did I end up in America? Well, I came here to visit my brother. And so kind of it started there. I came over and I kept staying here and and I thought, oh, you know, I'm going to learn English, I'll go to school. And then I met somebody and we started playing music together and that was it. But, you know, I've always been a musician growing up in Russia. So I went to music school, you know, how a lot of kids in Russia do that. And then I went to music college. I played in bands early on when I was a teenager. So it just kind of always been music.
How did you get this, or like from whom? Where did you get this inspiration from? Like this passion about music? Was it that person who introduced you to music, or you found out it yourself?
You know, according to my mother, I started singing before talking. And so I don't ever remember making a choice or being influenced. I was just always wanted to do that. And when I was 5 years old, I was performing at my mom's job. I was performing outside. Anywhere I went, I would say, do you want me to sing for you? And if they said yes, I would say, well, I can also dance and all that kind of stuff. So, and that's how I ended up in music school. And then I requested the piano. So I just don't ever remember questioning it. It just kind of was always there.
Do you think that it's like something strange is happening in terms of like why some people have absolutely no clue about what they're gonna be doing in life, and you being like performing all the time since, I don't know, your childhood, you know, like really little age. And my friend Professor as well, he told me that he always wanted to be a scientist, you know, and That's who he is right now. So do you think that is something like, I don't know, like talent, some blessing from above, you know? Or like
Well, you know,
what is
I
that?
think everybody's talented at something, and it's a really good point you touched, because my brother, for example, I feel like my brother knows so much and he can do so much, and yet he never made a choice of what he wanted to be. And he's the one who told me a few years back. He said, "You know, you're very lucky. You always knew what you wanted to do." So I don't know what it is. It could be that. It's your destiny. I mean, if you look at really, really great composers, they couldn't help it, or great writers, or great anything. Those people couldn't help it. I mean, Beethoven was already deaf when he was writing his greatest pieces. So sometimes I think people, it ends up being blessing and a burden a lot of times, because people kind of think, wow, if I didn't have this blessing burden, I would be living like a normal person and doing normal people's activities. I wouldn't be this Mozart guy writing these insane pieces and dying poor, you know? So it's just, um, I guess you are being chosen for each person being chosen for something on this planet. Maybe that's the way to explain it. I don't know.
Yeah, that's right.
Well,
Well,
Like,
interesting. Interesting.
we should. I have to chime in. You know, I'm curious about that. Yeah, that's right. I also believe that the Earth kind of picks certain people for certain tasks. You know, from different parts.
totally, totally.
And
Yeah.
what do you think? Do you think there's like
Totally
a
bored already.
connection between like the spirit of people and also like the spirit of other living things on the planet?
Connection between the spirit of people and spirit of other things on the planet.
Yeah, everything that moves and like is affected by time, I guess you could say.
Well, you believe the same things my mother believes. She always told me, see the rock, it's alive, and the insect is alive. And I mean, see the rock, that's from God, and the insect is from God. And my mother is a pagan, total pagan. She always prayed to the moon and to the sun and to the water. Everything is alive, she used to tell me. Everything on this planet is alive, and everything is connected. Well, when I was a child, I used to step on spiders, you know, like you kill the spider. Now I can't bring myself to kill a spider. Sometimes I'm like, oh my God, there's a spider. I gotta get rid of it. And I'm just about to smash it. But then I put it in a glass and cover the glass and take it outside. As I started growing older, I started understanding, wow, that is all connected, you know? And the spider in the room, it wants to live just as much as I want to live. When you chase it across the room, it runs because it wants to live. It doesn't know why it wants to live.
Or maybe he is scared as fuck, you know? He's like, oh, damn, that human body, gotta
He
kill him.
feels your temperature, you know, you're like this huge thing.
Yeah.
You're like a planet to him.
Yeah, totally. And so yeah, I guess, did I answer your question? I think you were talking
Yeah,
about
you did.
connection between humans and spiders.
Yeah, because didn't we have a special connection, Fedor? Like it was so random how we met.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
So
You
maybe
gotta
that
tell
was
this story to Angelina.
yeah, you should tell it because she doesn't
No,
know. Right?
you, man.
Me. All right.
Fedor, what time is it where you are?
It's 12 hours ahead, so it's almost 11 a.m. in China.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, yeah. So I'll tell the story. So from my perspective, at least, right? So I just got back to China, second time in China. You know, I didn't choose to go there at all. It was a weird circumstance of like my school trying to get me another place to go, which was supposed to be Morocco, and that's way better than China. I was like, yes, Morocco. And then yeah, some stuff didn't work out. So they're like, all right, well, we have China left. And I was like, no, please, not China. And they're like, sorry. So I end up in China and I'm like, all right, well, it's going to be different this time. This time I'm at an international student dorm, so I'll get to meet some people from different places. That's all I ever want to do. So I remember like the first day when we were registering in China, if you've ever been to a school in China, registration day is insane. It's going to be gigantic lines of just all kinds of people waiting to get their things like stamped by this guy. And then you have to go and get your picture taken by this guy. And you all do it together. That's like the difference. In America, like sometimes they'll like schedule you, or like they'll have like multiple rooms if they know they're kind of like prepared, I guess you could say. But in China, it's just like, oh yeah, just do the thing, we don't care. Just, oh yeah, 10,000 people, oh yeah, China 1 billion, yeah, no problem. So yeah, we're all just like waiting in line. Most people don't even know what they're doing, right? They don't, because they're first time in China, like a lot of people. And they're just like going crazy. And then I notice a guy standing across the room.
Kind of chill.
Yeah. Well, no, he was kind of hype, He was like talking to somebody really loudly in Russian. And I was like, oh, Russian. All right. Yeah. Looking for some Russians. But I ended up talking to some guy from Norway, and I was like, oh, Norwegian guy. All right. Yeah. Very, very typical, calm. He knows what's going on. He told me, oh, you got to stay in this line and make sure you get that one. It's like, all right, cool. So later, I'm like looking around. I'm like trying to find some Russians to hang out with, because I was at that point, I was sold. I gotta get like some more Slavic people in my life. So I start studying Russian, and I meet these two guys, Artyom and Idar, right? Idar.
Yeah.
We met them in like a cafeteria, and I was
a strange name. Russian?
Yeah, he's from Kazakhstan, right?
Okay.
No, from Moscow, man.
Oh, he is?
Yeah.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, I know.
But he's like a Tartar. He's Tartar.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Yeah, so
we all have a little Asian in us,
Yeah, that's right. Even me, my eyes kind of. I've been called that I have Asian eyes. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, technically, my dad has Chinese in his family.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. But so I meet Idar and Artyom and like in the cafeteria. I just walked over to them. I was like, "Hey guys, what's up?" They're like, "Oh, who are you?" I'm like, "Yeah, guy from New York. I'm looking to chill with some Russians." Like, Russian? Oh, all right, bro. Instant connection on this. He was just like, "Oh yeah, check out this hip hop," And it's just like that. What I call New York magic is just the moment just lines up just right, where you just meet the right people at the right time, right? Because I had been looking around, not really finding Russians, and like, I was really shy at that time because I was still getting used to the whole surrounding. But just when I went down that day, it was like the second day, and I decided, all right, yeah, those two guys, they look relatively friendly, they would just talk to me. So it's from that I was like talking with Artyom, and he's like, oh man, oh yeah, by the way, I like breakdancing. So yeah, come to my breakdancing class. And I was like, breakdancing, all right. I mean, I'm definitely not doing that this whole semester, but yeah, I'll just go just to hang out, Maybe I'll learn some Russian while I'm there. So I get there, and at first it's just Artyom and some other guy from like Canada and some girl. And we were just talking, small talk, and I was getting kind of bored. So I was like, and I can't really do breakdancing. You need to be really flexible for breakdancing.
Yeah. Oh my God, I can't imagine.
It takes a lot of training and stuff. So I was like, all right, I'm just going to hang out, stretch around. And then I noticed a guy walk in, a guy with glasses, a smile on his face, like a young, like a young goat, like a young goat.
Молодой козел.
Yeah, exactly. Just hopping along, and just so curious about everybody.
Sounds better in English than in Russian.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely.
But then he comes up to me and he's like, oh, hey man, where are you from? And I'm like, from New York. And right away, he's just like, oh, New York? Oh, okay, man. Yeah, that's cool. So, yeah, we just started, dancing, breakdance. I started doing some shuffling, for people who know. I'll probably put a little video in there. I used to do the Melbourne Shuffle. I was actually pretty good. I was in a crew in New York City. We used to have a shuffle crew. But anyway, that's besides the point. So we just start talking, and at first, you know, we didn't really hit it off right away. There was definitely some connection in the beginning, though, because after he went off on his own way, I was like, no, I think that guy's interesting. You know, I might see him again. Because he's one of the only people who actually asked me questions. You know, most of the people who I was meeting there, they were just like, oh, hey, where are you from? Okay, how old are you? Oh, you're going to study Chinese? Oh, okay. And that's it, you know, just no more. But he was asking me, oh, yeah, what is it like in New York? And oh, yeah, how do you speak English so clearly, you know? He was just amazed by me. So I was like, all right.
Yeah, you do speak English clearly. And I just, it's good that you just said that. I noticed now when you were talking. I was like, Tarik speaks English very clearly.
Yeah.
Very nice. It's very nice to hear good English.
Well, thank you.
I sometimes don't have good English, even though people tell me, they're like, oh, you speak so clearly. I'm like, am I? I sometimes hear my voice and hear how some words are harder for me to pronounce, and I kind of know I'm forcing it. I'm like, I don't know if I speak that clearly.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask you guys, so you met in China. When was that? I'm interviewing you now. When was that?
Yeah, sure. That was my mom said I got it wrong last podcast. It was 2017 in the fall, right? It was 2017, right? Yeah, September,
right.
From September to December.
So you guys know each other for 3 years.
Yeah.
And you and I know each other for how long now? 2 years.
Yeah, that's right. Because after China, I went back to New York, and that's when we met. Because I was looking for, you know, some kind of Russian internship, and I was just trying to mix around with Russians, you know, as I like to do.
Looking for Russian girls. That's what it was.
Yeah, you know, we could say that was an ulterior motive, you know.
To practice his Russian. He was looking for Russian girls.
That's right. Yeah. So any other questions, Angelina?
Well, I am very curious about China because I have a friend who is a guitar player for the band called Brian Jonestown Massacre. It's a rock and roll band. They've been around forever. Yeah. And he, when their band got famous, he started doing these tours to China. And I think he was bringing American bands to China, but he also met a lot of Chinese bands. And he loves China and he loves Chinese music. And so I'm always curious what would be like to go to China as a rock and roll band, you know? They would probably, I hear like people would love it. Or for me, China.
Yeah. Just to put it simple, you would end up playing at some like shabby bar or like a fucking Chinese wedding. That's it. That's like your maximum.
Yeah.
Or in front of people, you know, like in the street. No acoustic, nothing. Just gotta play, like dress up nice, and that's it. That's how it. Yeah. As for your perspective, that's not good to me. Because that's not really professional,
right?
From how I see that. But if you've been liking performing since like I don't know all the time, you know, like should I sing you a song? Could I? It's like why not? It's fun.
I use that card all the time.
But at the same time, I would say that at least like bands that I've met, that I've listened here, they're all not like, I mean, they were good, extremely good. I was in a bar another night and diverse crew playing, like one from China, one from Venezuela, one from Sweden, and another guy, I believe he was playing the piano, was from where? I forgot the country. But yeah, it was just like a diverse crew, you know, all people, all members from different countries. And I was like really enjoying that. But then I see like them playing in the bar like, well, where's the potential? You know what I mean? Where is like, I mean, I could be a good public speaker, but I don't want to end up being a toastmaster or
Right.
tamada,
Right.
you know.
Exactly. So,
So it's just like,
well, I
or-
propose that we drink to tell a
That's
story,
right.
tell one story, and then
That's
talk
right.
together. Yeah.
So I just like, well, that's it. We did like also we all seen this rise of K-pop and all like mimics, I would say, copies from other Asian countries, and that's what more valuable than just to hear pure acoustic, just some talent, really infused with this instrument and stuff. And yeah, so it's just a different, I guess, planet for these creative people. That's why I don't really get to see, not like in Japan, where you can go on like YouTube and search for, yo, black musician in Japan, or like a foreigner musician in Japan. In China, you would see this. Yeah, you would meet a DJ, but he's just playing some stuff in the nightclub, you know. And I just like, all right, I guess, but music is usually shitty. It's not that quality, you know. It's not my cup of tea.
Right.
But
So how's food in China? How's, because we only
well,
get
I don't give a shit about food, to be honest. I came out of cadet school, so to me, food is just food. You know, I sustain myself with food. Because I've been like starving there. I've been eating like sukhari, you know, that like them like bread. Yeah, and I used to put the bread on the heater to make it like, you know, put salt, and that's how I
make it
survived.
like it's toasted. Yeah, like it's
Yeah. Like toasted.
Yeah,
toasted
the reason
bread.
why I asked about food is because every time somebody comes from China and they taste Chinese food in America, they're like, "Oh no, this is no good. No."
Yeah, this question actually has some like specific, I would say, meaning to me, because look, we all know that Chinese food are like, the variety of it is pretty much diverse, right? But at the same time, you would expect that diversity could also like embrace other style of food, not just pizza, hamburger, or pasta, you know, but some other stuff.
Right.
So
Right.
you don't get to see those Chinese eating like some, you know, different styles of food every time. That's why they open restaurants or like shops, supermarkets, Chinatowns in America, because they cannot just adapt to that. So we would be like, yeah, you guys are so diverse, but at the same time, you cannot even eat our stuff. So it's just like one net game. Игра в одни ворота.
Да,
So
да.
I'm not cool with that, you know. So it's just food is good, but they are like worshiping food, you know. And I understand the reason. You know, they're like the only activity that they can perform. The only, I would say, integration with foreigners could be on this going to the restaurant, you know, evening and eat something. Yeah, it's good. Eat, order, and yeah, eat, drink, talk. Yeah,
I
that's
feel like
it.
Americans are obsessed with food too, very much so.
Yeah, I already got it. I would see just more like colorful, diverse people on the street in America, but the nature, I guess, would be the same. It's just like, and probably not just that, it'd be probably even worse, because the trend comes from your country, guys, you know,
Yeah,
from that part.
That's right.
So
That's right.
it's like,
We have a
Yo,
lot of sheeple here in America, a lot of followers.
Sheeple. I
Yeah.
love that.
Who just follow things blindly. You know, they don't question it. They don't try to be different. But we also have a large degree of people who do try. I just think they're all scattered out. You know, they're all
Yeah.
separated from each other.
Totally.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, that was a brief like introduction to China in terms of like, yeah, you can find some good stuff here too, you know, like food. If you're like that foodie Instagram blogger, or like just like an appreciator, yeah, you just can order some food, you know, no problem. But don't do it only that. as for your entertainment, yeah, no. That shit is bullshit right there. How can I just eat it? I don't give a shit. I can eat pasta and my boiled chicken like a month, entire straight, no breaks. So yeah.
Yeah, I used to relate to food the same way. When people started using the word food, would irritate me more than that word. And also, like at dinner parties or at parties, people would be like, "So you went blah blah blah. What did you eat? Was that to eat?" And people start describing food in details. I used to get so irritated by that. I'm like, who gives a shit? Like you ate something. Okay, cool. And
Yeah.
even how people nowadays, especially in America, well, I'm sure in Russia too, go to some fancy place, super fancy, and they start posting Instagram pictures how fancy the food was and everything. And I'm just sitting there thinking that probably was $300. $300. It's insane. Like I can eat for $300 a whole month cooking at home and spend $300 in a meal. I don't agree with that. I never
Yeah.
agreed with it. But I'm just, I like very simple food. I don't know.
Yeah, food is just food.
I can eat, the Russian kasha, grechka. I can live on grechka.
Yeah.
Give me,
Yeah,
give me,
like a
give
crop
me
back.
that, a few vegetables. I'm happy.
Yeah. Yeah. I miss Grechka.
Oh, they
China
don't
doesn't
have,
have
they don't
it.
have it in China.
Yeah, no. Yeah, but I mean you can order it, but it's just like I'm gonna like restrain myself and wait till this,
Yeah.
in
You
this
get the quality
purgatory.
one from
Yeah.
Mother Russia.
Yeah. That's right.
When is your school over?
It is over now. I mean, I'm free to go, but I just don't want to go back to Russia now because this coronavirus, I don't want to get stuck in my parents' house with my brothers and my mom. So it's gotta be super, super annoying, So I'm enjoying freedom, a quote unquote freedom, because yeah, once a week I still can leave the campus, I have to negotiate with those, with the administration, with like
You
reception
have to
on
bribe
the
anyone?
sometimes, bodily, I have to sleep with a girl who is doing this,
Yeah.
approval.
Promise you a bottle of French wine.
That was with the other guys. Yeah, we had a conversation with a person from Central African Republic yesterday, and that was just insane. That's the other thing that I really like about China, and about not China, but this exactly like this environment that I'm in, is that I get to meet all kinds of people, and especially like I have some friends who are studying from Nepal and from like Central African Republic, and that is just crazy, like Nepal, wow. And you definitely gonna be talking with them on the podcast as well. But yeah, so this is probably the only one benefit that I could name about this country. No, about this university, And if you ask me about like, well, how do you like studying there, I would be like, nah, it's a joke. It's a completely joke to me. And without Tarik, without my friend Professor Dima, yeah, I call him Professor because it's like his name to me, and I address him as вы, not ты, вы. Just show my respect. And yeah, I just like, if I didn't have those two guys, during this my personal growth period, I would really get like stuck or like get lost in this sauce, Chinese sauce.
Chinese sauce. That's the name for a
Yeah.
band. Chinese sauce.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, you were saying something about we in the Russian language. I really love that we have that in Russian language.
Yeah, because
Because
when I sorry to cut you off, but when I address somebody as you, and this person is older than me, I get this feeling that I'm addressing him not ты. So it's not like pleasant, you know.
it's not
You got,
pleasant. I have the same way. Like I'll meet somebody sometimes who is only a couple years older than me, but they are seem more serious than me or something, and I cannot say them ты. And I don't know how to explain. I'm sure Tarik knows the difference, right?
Yeah.
So
Every time
see,
I try to use "we," he always said, no, don't use it, don't use it.
gotta
why?
be but some specific examples. This is just Angelina said, man. She met somebody and they're just being so serious. I just cannot use ты. I have to use we. You know, just like switcher. You know, that's
So-
Russian thing.
I'm
You would be like,
same way. I could never do it. Sometimes people look at me and you can say ты, and I say ты a couple of times, and then I switch to we.
yeah. I guess this is our like old soul connection, man. Because when I say like it's just Russian thing, I'm pretty sure that young people right now they don't really give a shit about like addressing somebody as like ты or we. It's like they use ты all the time. And when even
Right.
an adult points this out, like, oh, who are you talking to, son? Like, so I just
Yo,
like,
who are you talking to, son?
yeah, that's right.
Yeah, just so everybody knows, that's how Russians talk. You know, that's
Yeah, exactly.
No, if you address somebody, not ты, you'll be like, yo, who are you? Кому ты тычешь?
What the picture? Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
That's
I
right.
love that.
And we have this connection with Angelina, but again, you know, damn, have no water. Right. So yeah, so but I want to talk about, you know, before this conversation
goes
you
into
probably have to restart it again, but I wanna talk about creativity, Angelina. What is it? And what is your muse? Like music muse? What is like how do you get this inspiration? Where do you get it from? Like what do you do basically to keep up your creativity and the passion to music?
Right. Well, it used to kind of. It's different all the time, you know. It used to be that I was reading a lot and obsessing with Russian literature, a lot of Russian literature, of Russian music, and that was always influence. You know, sometimes it would be a movie, sometimes it would be a conversation with a friend, sometimes it would be listening to a record, sometimes it would be just walking on the street. I can't really ever tell where it's coming from. It's just kind of I can spend a week at home on my own and listen to a lot of music, or sometimes even read a random book, like a psychology book or something not related to fiction. And then I'll be washing the dishes and I turn around and I run to the piano and I start writing. So I don't really know. I'm influenced by everything.
Yeah.
You know?
So do you think there is some like spiritual thing that I watched a podcast from like on Lex Friedman's channel. It's like also Russian American guy. And he had a guest who was basically explaining this concept, rather his belief, I guess you could call it, to be like, oh, there's something like I don't know, a person, a thing, like a gene. That's how Muslims would refer to it as spirit. And who pops this information to you, like, all right, now Angelina deserves this melody. Yeah, you're gonna give it to her.
I know exactly what you're talking about. It feels like that sometimes because people ask me that all the time. Kind of, what's the process of writing? And I sometimes to rethink it, and it's kind of I sit down and write it down. Like the information comes, and I literally write it down.
Yeah, make a story out of it. Yeah.
Right, and I was so used to my process being that way. So when I finally came to this certain block a few years ago, where suddenly the information wasn't coming that easily, and I would start
Yeah.
writing a song, and I would get stuck, and I would want to walk away from it because I was so spoiled. I'm like, well, this is not coming, so I gotta walk away from it. So I
Yeah.
started forcing myself towards the discipline where I'm like, you know what? I'm actually going to work on this. And I would sit down and work and work and work and work and work and suddenly get over that block and bam, the song would be written. So that only started happening 4 years ago, that kind of
Mm.
process. And so I feel kind of that I've always been spoiled. I would just sit down and write it down. And whatever is sending it to me, from
Yeah.
upstairs,
Interesting.
Who I like to call the god of chaos.
the
Yeah.
god of chaos. Yes.
Yeah, that's
So,
interesting.
but my brother used to tell me, my brother used to send me photographs of Alexander Pushkin's writing process, and it
Yeah.
would be kind of words crossed and written over and words crossed. And he would be like going through that process nonstop. And my brother is like, that's how you should be working. You should be working like that. And I'm like, this is Alexander Pushkin. I can't compare myself to Pushkin. What are you talking about? I'm
Yeah.
not anywhere near, Alexander Pushkin. No,
Yeah,
nobody is.
We can't all be Pushkin, all right?
We can't hold Pushkin responsible.
I have a question to you, Angelina. Do you think that Angelina, that's really weird to even pronounce it, Angelina.
Angelina.
So wait. All right. So what have you been listening to recently? What have you been into?
How would you like describe this whole like music industry right now?
Oh, okay. That's okay. That's a good question. How would I describe it? Music industry. Well, I'm not in the music industry, and I don't really know how to describe it. The way I would describe it is that it is. I guess it's a very. I think it's always been the business that's definitely pro money and how to make a product out of an artist, but I think it is way more so these days. I think, for example, if 15, 20 years ago, independent bands had a chance to sign with major record labels, I think that now it's much less a chance because that industry is looking for kind of like either pop artists or only hip hop bands, people that will make them money faster, people that will be popular
Yeah.
easier and stuff like that. Because I think like when I read stories of music business in the 60s and 70s, let's say they would sign an artist, and let's say an artist would record an album and the album wouldn't sell really well, right? Well, the music labels would go, okay, well, let's try another album and let's try another album until we develop an artist, until the audience, loves your music. Well, it doesn't happen like that anymore. If you give them a record and that record is not making fast money, they're going to say goodbye. So
Yeah.
it's definitely about money more than about the art, but that's just maybe other people won't agree with that. So I don't know.
Yeah,
That's,
I
that's
like.
how
I just have an idea in my head, just popped up, and I want to just express it. So whether I'm talking to a musician, it should be more just like, yo, let's listen to your song, or just have a like a playlist, and I'm gonna just ask you some questions based on that playlist. How do you feel? Why do you like that particular song? Because like talking about, some high philosophical concepts is not like, it's just like we can't really touch it. It's intangible. So that, you know what I mean? So we have to be like
yeah,
more precise. And
right.
well,
So you would do
and my
that.
question would be like, Angelina, why are you not in that music industry? What's been going? How is your career? How are you as a musician?
Well, you know that I was in that music industry. We're talking about like a big level, high level music industry, right? Because I'm always in music industry as a musician because I'm always writing, and I'll always be performing. But as far as big music industry, I'm not in it because we got signed to Columbia Records, and we released a record on Columbia Records, and we released a lot of our songs through TV shows and movies and commercials and all that kind of stuff. But it didn't work out between us and them, and we left. So that's how it goes sometimes, you know,
Yeah.
because at the time we were signed by head of A&R of Columbia Records, who was dealing directly with the president of Columbia Records, and they both really loved it, and they saw a big future for my band. But then, and this is how big business works. Then 6 months before our record comes out, I mean 6 weeks before our record comes out, the president is fired, and the whole team that was working on our record gets fired with him. The people that work in music business don't lose their jobs; they just kind of get transferred to another label. But
Yeah.
the bands that they sign go. The bands lose their position within the label, because major record labels, they work kind of like the industry works like groups. You have groups of people against each other with the label. They all compete in certain amount of
Yeah.
and for their own artist. So I felt like we were left alone in a huge machine without people that loved our record. The people were pro us. The president of Columbia Records, the A&R guy. So when that happened, we were offered to stay on the label, but I didn't feel that it was right anymore, and so I requested us to break the contract. And they said, okay. So we left Columbia Records with all rights to our record, to all rights to our videos, to even
Yeah.
to photographs. And we've been on our own since then, which is not easy because it's always financial difficulty.
Yeah.
You know, you want to go to the studio, you gotta pay money. You want to
Yeah.
do anything creative, you gotta pay money. So that's how it works.
Fortunately. So, and that is I would say, an underlying like reason why you not been like publishing out some things, right? Not new material from you, like new songs.
Well, it's also after something like that happens, you kind of, I don't know, especially soon after the whole internet went kind of crazy. Everybody releasing their songs and records on YouTube, on
SoundCloud.
Spotify, on CD Baby, and so nowadays you can have a career releasing your songs straight to your fans. And
Yeah.
so I think that for me, it's been a process of figuring out how to be a solo artist, because I've been writing a lot of songs that kind of require maybe not having a band, but me just playing out with a guitar or piano. So, and I've just been kind of understanding that now it's releasing it straight.
Yeah. All right, you're back.
Yeah. What happened?
You know, the alien came, you know, and they were like, no, no, no.
Alien came?
Aliens came, yeah, from Columbia Records. You know?
From Colombia, the land of Colombia.
Yeah. From British Columbia and Columbia
British
Records.
Columbia or from Colombia.
Yeah. All right. I got it. Do you have my curiosity? Do you have like a playlist yourself on YouTube? Things like the songs that you like. and you could send it to me, to all of us, and we just can check it out. You know, like songs like
You mean
2000.
right now or later?
Yeah, later, of
Yeah,
course.
I can do that, of course.
Yeah, good, interesting. That's would be
So
like good
I also have a
exchange.
question. If could we also use your music in this episode? Like,
Of course, yes.
oh, okay. Because I don't know how, yeah, if you have a license on it, but of course we're gonna put.
These are mine, so you can use it.
Yeah,
You
so
don't have to call Colombia
YouTube
Records.
gotta text you, right to you, like, yo, those
Yeah.
guys use your record. Yeah, shall we
If,
use them?
if they're gonna use it for, I don't know, shoes or selling television, yeah, call them and go, what's going
Yeah.
on?
Yeah, but it sounds like it feels like, at least to me, that I just have to ask this question. And yo, Angelina, what is the meaning of your life right now?
What's the meaning of my life?
Yeah.
Wow, that's really good. And
Because music is like, it's not like I would describe you as being like die hard songwriter right now, because I mean, I understand the circumstances, I understand the feeling. And so yeah, how do you derive that meaning? What is that? Yes, could you just tell me about it?
you know, it's really kind of amazing you asked that, because my whole life it felt to that I had no life outside of music ever, and I had no meaning outside of music. And years ago, I started feeling strange about that. I thought, wow, I never had. You guys can see me.
Yeah,
It says my internet
perfect.
connection is unstable. So I felt like I never had anything outside of music, and I don't know how people live without music. And so I ended up 7 years ago. I ended up in Russia for 9, and then my father died, and I ended up going to Siberia. And that trip kind of started changing. In Siberia, I met a lot of strange and interesting people that were kind of like aliens themselves, you know?
Yeah,
And so,
Mother Russia.
yeah, the Siberia felt to me like I was in a Tarkovsky movie. I felt like I was in a sci-fi land. Literally, going through the village in Altai, that's where we were, felt to me like a sci-fi land. Everything about it. And so when I came back, people that went with me, people that warning me, they were saying, you know, you're gonna leave this place, you're gonna start changing. And I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. But when we came back to Moscow, then I came back to the United States, the change began. And I started searching and looking and reading, and I just realized, wow, I felt like an empty vessel. I needed to fill it up with new things. I got interested in this one man. His name was Oleg Tarsunov, and he's talking about Veda civilization and people lived and the laws of the universe. And I started there. Then I just kind of read a little bit on, you know, Buddhism, and listened to some man from India. I started kind of searching and searching and searching in all kinds of ways. And I hate to use this word spiritual, but that's what I was searching for. And I ended up going to the Russian Orthodox Church, and kind of that's where I met Tarik, and kind of started listening to, because I don't come from a religious family. I don't come from people talking about it. I never knew anything about it. So I just kind of started going back. And first, it was really interesting for me to be in a Russian, in the presence of Russian people in America. Then I started listening to the music, because I really like the choirs, and some cathedrals have amazing singing. And that kind of started pulling me back. And then I started actually reading about it. And that started filling up my life. And I'm now very interested. I cannot be anything it's hard for me to follow the rules. It's hard for me to follow the people. So I always have to come to things from my own angle, you know. And so I've been kind of just interested in Russian Orthodox. Plus, my father is Greek. So I come from a Greek family, and my parents were divorced, so I didn't know anything about that part. But when I came to his funeral and I saw that part of the family, I realized they were burying him in a tradition Greek Orthodox, which was a shock to me because I didn't know they were Greek Orthodox. And so I think like at some point in life, what you do is huge, right? But it's not all. And you start searching for other things to fill you up. And I think that Russian culture is filled with Russian Orthodox religion, from Dostoevsky to Tarkovsky to
I'm not really a fan of those guys, you know. It's just not my thing, you know. Like speaking of Tarkovsky, it's like, yo, I have to watch like in 3 hours a numb movie and a person looking at колодец, like, you know, that water reservoir, and then numb movie, or somebody is driving a cab numb for 3 hours. No, that's not my style.
No, I understand that. I understand that it's not a lot of people's style. For me, Tarkovsky was just, you know, Tarkovsky's movies were not just movies. I mean, it's kind of like poetry in a film. So.
No. Do you know what really movie to me is? Yeah, Pirates of the Caribbean. Pirates of the Caribbean and Jack the Sparrow. That's the real movie. And I can explain why. Because we all feel like, damn, we are thugs and murderers, and like, yeah, we just gotta do something, like protest, you know.
Right.
But we cannot do this because you're constrained by this fucking food, images, and like, yeah, and orthodox doctrines. And what we should do, oh yeah, the only thing that we can do is let Jack the Sparrow and his crew to commit all of this shit, you know. And we see all those battles and his action. Yeah, shout out to Johnny Depp. That's the real essence of human beings. That's how I feel, at least. It's just like
to each their own. I mean, you can't. I can't expect you to like or understand what I like and understand. But there's like a very important part of every, I guess, like we all want to break some rules in some ways, in some time, you know. So whether it's gotta be a huge outburst of that, I'm just gotta like let this statue fall down, Christopher Columbus, right? Or I'm just gonna steal a bottle of wine from that local like corner store, which is pretty crime. From that to that, you know, the ratio could vary like significantly. But the point is like, yeah, I'm just more interested in that rather than try to understand and derive some meaning of that beautiful art. Wow, it's so deep. But you don't see, just a second, you don't have to force yourself to derive any meanings of any beautiful art. It either speaks to you or it doesn't. So
yeah,
if you're watching a movie, if you're watching Tarkovsky's movie and you are like, oh my God, I have to understand the depths of this man, I'm not into it. That's totally fine. For me, I couldn't do that. If things either speak to me or they don't speak to me. You know
that's
what I
right.
mean?
And that's what diversity is all about, you know.
Exactly.
That's like how it resonates.
You know, I can watch a Tarkovsky movie. I can also watch a Will Ferrell completely stupid slapstick kind of film and enjoy both. So you know, I can. You don't have to force yourself to do anything.
Yeah, that's right. But there is some levels, of course. You know, like if you can like a little, not just like in a museum you would expect that all the exhibition would be protected by the glass or something, that you cannot touch some things, you know. So it's just like, all right, if you want to go on that level, right, like speaking of Tarkovsky, you would expect that that guy filmed more details, more something bigger picture, some, like, you know, you have to be an aesthete, right, to really contemplate that. But
Well, you have to understand that Tarkovsky at the time was breaking the rules. I mean, that
yeah, I understand at that time. So
Yeah.
did Albert Einstein.
Right. So
And if you gotta compare that level, you know, in terms of like, yo, what a meaning, you would go probably study some probability theories or like black holes or some science thing. And I'm not trying to compare the art, but it's just like there's been a lot of people who are like, if you don't understand Tarkovsky or any other, you know, like some deep shit, yeah, you don't understand art at all. You don't. Oh, if you don't like classical music, no. You don't understand music. No. This is my personal like opinion. If we are talking about high level concepts, yeah, we're gonna jump into theoretical physics because that's what useful. You know, that's why we can use this connection right now because of this. You know, like I don't know, all equipment.
But just a second, we can survive without this connection. Without some part of the past, we can't. We can't
survive. In what way you survive? Stay sane. Well, like, I don't know.
For example, if this connection never existed, we would still do fine. We would.
Yeah, but exactly. If this connection never existed, and Tarkovsky movie as well, we would be still hunter-gatherers. We would still hunt, gather, and fuck, and eat, and that's perfect. You know, that's how we can survive. Yeah, I agree on that.
Yeah, it's Fedor. As I said, to each their own. For me personally, if I didn't have things I had in my life, my whole life. If I didn't have the Metropolitan Museum, for me, it would be a very hard life. I have to have those things. I can't help it.
That's what ignites your art, your music. And that's what ignites your music, and with all of this cultural background that you have observed.
Well, it's not just the music. It feeds.
No, I'm talking about just art. You know, no. I'm talking specifically, like because of Tarkovsky, Metropolitan Museums, etc. If all of that gather information, you just fulfill yourself and just wrote it down into a beautiful. What is the most famous song of yours being played in FIFA?
Música для фильма.
Yeah, música для фильма. Yeah, just brought that into that composition. That's it. That's just enough to me, you know, to justify all Tarkovsky and all of the, like, not just justify, but really validate. I would say you were. Dilute, you're melting in that scope of culture. So yeah, that's fine to me. See this outcome, you know, and not just being balabolit, blah 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 blah, but actually write that, and I'd be like, yo, yeah, I like that, and I'm really curious. So yeah. Just that my message was to all people who's just like, yo, man, if you're not that high, no, you don't understand shit. It's like, you don't see the lines, the strings.
See, there's a lot of artists there's a lot of artists that write great songs and do really well, and they don't watch anything that you would say is high or whatever.
Yeah, that's right.
So for me, it's kind of like, I don't. Good art is good art. So whoever wrote it, sometimes they say in English, like, or they say it in Russian actually. How the saying goes, it's kind of like, never meet your hero, because you might meet your hero and this person wrote something beautiful, but it's a really not good person, or not very interesting or not very high level or whatever you want to say. So it's kind of like artists come in all kinds of shapes and forms. And for me, yeah, I'm one way. Somebody else is another way. Art is important for me, you know, and Russian culture is important. So that is why I brought Tarkovsky in, because I love a lot of stuff in the past of Russian culture in art. I do. I can't help it, you know. I
Yeah.
love playing Tchaikovsky on the piano. It's one of my favorite things. So it's kind of like I wasn't brought up that way. Nobody in my family was doing that. And so I happen to like this stuff. It speaks to me.
Yeah, Tarik, I will send you a movie by that guy on YouTube with English subtitles.
By which
And
guy? Yeah.
Tarkovsky, I would
Love
send
it.
him
No, I'm
zero.
going to send him a movie. I'm going to send
Boy.
one of my favorite Tarkovsky's movie called Sacrifice. And Tarik is going to love it.
Yeah, I might love it. She knows my music and art taste very well.
Yeah,
He will
interesting.
love it.
So yeah, that's just good to know this information. You know, at least you have this chemadon of knowledge, suitcase of
Rucksack.
rucksack. Yeah, no, it's not a rucksack. It's just more something bigger, I guess. Yeah, but
I'm not so much of some kind of knowledge snob or some kind of I'm an intellectual or something. No, I just
it doesn't matter. You know, I don't really give a damn about it. As soon as I heard "Музыка для фильма," that's enough. That's enough to just like make a judgment about you. That's it. Yeah, it's like enough to. It's like it could be like on surface level, yes, but come on, we all know Drake's style, right? And you would probably judge that person by his songs and what he's talking about, and with some little like information about his like past, you know, you would be like, oh yeah, that's right. Now the picture is full clean, you know, puzzled up. And now I have the perfect like understanding of that person, you know, at least from the surface level, from the level that was given like to me, you know. So yeah, but this whole detailed explanation and like growing up, and actually that's really fascinating that probably the remnants, of course, of your generation, that you still have this Russian culture. And yeah, I like it because me personally, I don't have that strong connection, you know. And to be frank, I've been growing up not in Russia, you know. My like процесс формирования, the process of development, you know, and it's just like it just happened to be not in Russia, but with some Russian help, like by professor, by another friend, just other people that I met along the way. So yeah, it's just cool to see that, you know, preservation. And yet, and I'm not sure, I cannot say for like 1001% that will be gone, but yeah, the tendency is less.
I think the young people
lesser.
now that that interested in the same things. I had an interview with somebody. I got messages on Instagram about that song, "Музыка для фильма." And all these kids were saying, millions of Russian boys grew up with this song. You got to give us an interview. And I said, okay. So somebody called me for interview, and every freaking reference I was given to him was foreign language. And this is a person grew up in Russia, and he's in his early 20s, or yeah, probably 20.
Yeah.
So he was, every reference I was given, I felt like it was wasted on he was confused by what I was saying. And I realized, I was like, wow, that is so crazy how fast now everything goes faster. Because I remember when I was 13, what people that were 27 were talking about, I could relate. 14 years apart, relate. Now 14 years apart, people can't relate to each other. Yep. Things going too fast.
Too fast.
For example, a record will come out. People will listen to it. 2 days later, something else, replacing it, right? In my generation, for instance, a record will come out. You live with that record for months, for years. For you adore this record. You know every word. You know photographs. You know what artists meant to say and stuff like that. And I think things are so much faster now that people there's bigger difference between generations, which is probably a good thing. People are not attached to the past. They live more in the present and they're not that attached to the history or to their culture. That's I see it as a good change, but I'm not like that. So I can't change myself. I still am attached to very strongly to Russian history, to the history of my family, to Russian literature, to Russian music, to everything. And I think it can really kind of slow you down, drag you down, or inspire you. It depends on you, you know. So
Yeah. I have a question. I have a question for you, Angelina.
yeah.
Do you think that if like let's say we can understand Pushkin, Tarkovsky, all like Russian literature, Russian history, could Tarik do the same? Or rather I would put, could anybody do the same thing, understand on the level that we do, perceive Pushkin's craft as we do, like a Chinese guy or Panamanian girl? What do you think about it?
Can they understand it the way we do?
Yeah, like us, you know. So my argument with Tarik was like there was like a prose, like a part of prose by Pushkin, translated in good English, you know. And I just my point, you know. I just told him like, Tarik, I read this in Russian, you read this in English, we would have just understanding, not the same, you know, but it varies, but we would get the point of it. That's it. That's what I'm like advocating for.
Right. I think that people will absolutely understand it. I often think about that because when I read a Russian book, I think, wow, this is so well written. But if somebody was asked to translate it, I wouldn't be able to translate it because it has so many cultural nuances. I adore translators. I think that people that properly translate stuff, they are writers themselves because not only you have to understand the meaning, you have to translate all the nuances into new culture, into new language. So I often wonder like how much, because when you read something, when you read a sentence, it's not just understanding with your mind, but it's also the feeling, right? When you read a sentence in English, a lot of times I understand something, but I feel like Americans don't just understand what I'm understanding, but they also feel in it a certain way. And they tie it to their own culture and to their own, you know, past. So the same with Russian literature or music or whatever. I don't know. Understanding it one thing, but feeling it is another. So I'm not really sure how that works. I think that's the only difference. It's a really good question because that's what puts a difference between humans still, our differences in languages. And even if you learn the language, even if I learn Chinese tomorrow, I will never understand the depth of it like Chinese people do, you know, and I'll never understand their literature.
Well, I wouldn't say never. I would say you would have to devote a lot of time, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe go in the culture. Like I would have to go 25 years in China. And I don't know. I just feel like it's a very kind of sad thing almost because I read something sometimes in Russian and I really want to share and I start translating. And while I'm translating, I have to explain all these details. And by the time I explain it, it loses the beauty of a piece. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
I know you exactly what you're talking about. I've had this so many times with Tarik, you know, it's just like, I just can't, you know, I have to admit this, like acknowledge this failure of not being so clear about some points, you know, or it's just like, oh, what do you mean, man? This kind of question is just like, just like a liver punch to me, like, fuck, I've been like, and this emotions attached to it as well. But that's also the point. of just knowing language on a high level, like almost advanced, where you would not like, refer to this like, I don't know, like cultural things or emotional. No, you gotta learn the syntaxes, like grammar properly. And with enough vocabulary, yeah, you can explain everything, explain shit. Or how Tarik's method, I would call it, like just simple as possible, understanding, break it down. And I guess that's also been the beauty of our integration, the beauty of our contrast. Yeah. So right, we have 3 minutes left, 4 minutes, and yeah, I just want to thank you.
Like this when you're having fun.
Yeah, that's right. And I just want to thank you, Angelina,
This is
for
really
this.
fun. I kind of wish, like, I kind of think that we got to know each other today, and maybe in the future, when you guys do a lot of this, we can have a different
time. Yeah, another role. Exactly.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Of course.
And
You're a very
I felt
lovely
like-
guest. We would love to have you.
you guys are lovely journalists, but Fedor is not a journalist, right? You're not a journalist?
Yeah, I'm not a journalist, but I guess I will be one.
Yeah.
I will
But
be
the
one.
thing is, like, I had a conversation with this musician who was interviewing me yesterday, and he was better than any music journalist I've had in the past. He was actually very insightful, asked really great questions. So sometimes I think, it always depends on the person, right? You don't have to.
And the thing that you're talking about, the format of that interview, of course, today was like a good introduction class, I would call it. Because like if you're talking about music, yeah, I would really prepare for that shit, and you would not be able to dodge it or to refer to some cultural context. No, it's gotta be straight to the point, and I understand it. No, but it's not my major, it's not my profession, but I guess.
No, you guys did amazingly. It was fun.
Yeah, I like it. So, Tarik, your word.
Yeah, it was a great podcast. As all of our podcasts have been pretty good. I gotta say, I'm very pleased.
You gotta get my brother on it. Oh, you guys would.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oleg, of course. Gotta get Oleg.
I talked to him today. I said, you gotta join these guys, and he said, oh, but I'm not really a person. I said, doesn't matter. You should do it. He is a mind. Like, we have a friend. This is probably gonna get recorded because we're at the other time, but we have a friend who is he works for the ballet and symphony here in San Francisco. A very, very talented man. And he always says, yeah, there's countries and there's cities, but there's Oleg. He's his own country. So that's why you gotta get my brother on here.
Yeah,
and
it's a legendary Oleg. I've heard a lot
legendary
about
Oleg.
That's fun.
I've seen him argue with a lot of Americans about politics and stuff like that. He's very, very soft. He doesn't have a lot of ego in his arguments, but he's incredibly factual and incredibly, like, he can take so many aspects of the world. Like, you'll be talking about China, for
instance. We will be talking. We will be talking to Oleg. Yeah, of course.
He really. He's a podcast person for sure.
Yeah. All right, Angelina, we have less than a minute.
Yeah,
thank you so much.
Thank you.
Спасибо.
Пожалуйста.
And
we'll see you again for sure.